Welcome again to the seventh episode of the podcast series Life Inside Out. The podcast series where we try to discuss on various topics with an intention to help you enhance your well being and overall quality of life. So, today, as always, I have Sai with me. Hello, Sai.
Hi Ranjit.
And Sai has some questions that he wanted to ask as part of the episode today. So, without any further ado, we will directly go to Sai and hear out what he has to ask in this today's episode. Yes, Sai, over to you.
Ranjit, as you are already aware, I've spent a decade of my time in IT industry, and then I took a gap of 2 years, and then I ventured into business. Now it's been close to 3 years. I've been into food business, organic foods business. So one thing which I have noticed with myself personally is that, and keep in mind that I'm the first one in my entire family who has ventured into business. Others are into job service, 9 to 5 jobs. So whenever I meet my previous colleagues or friends, right, one of the common question which they ask me is that, hey, are you able to earn the same amount which you were earning, when you were in corporate? And most of the time, the answer is no, because business has its own, ups and downs. And then when I sit back with myself and when I look at my choices, there are three things which I very distinctively see that has changed. The first thing is time. I'm in control of my time. When I say control of my time, I actually have the freedom to choose what I want to do and when I want to. So I experience greater freedom with respect to time. I have time to do my yogic practices and then I go for playing badminton, and basically I have complete freedom over of my time. And comes the second thing which I've noticed is when it comes to financial aspect, I am not there yet, which I have been thinking in my mind, when I joined business. I'm still in the process, but not there yet. So, and when there are certain months which don't go as planned, then I start questioning whether am I on the right path. So this is something which I have been coming back to, quite recently, asking, okay, am I doing the right thing or should I switch to something else so that where the monetary aspects are also, better. So why do you think I might be, been going through this? And what do you call this actually, this experience?
See, when I hear you, Sai, what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that there are moments when you think that financially you are not doing as you want to do. Correct?
Hmm.
Financially, you are not doing as you want to do. So during those moments, you start questioning the entire thing that you have stepped into. Are you doing the right thing? Are you in the right thing or right business or those kind of things? Correct? You start questioning. See, and that questioning is actually the questioning of not the situation, but you are questioning yourself.
I'm questioning myself.
So you're questioning yourself. In some ways, you're questioning the worth of your own self.
I'm questioning the worth of my own self.
It's like if you do financially well, you will feel
Hmm.
that you are worthy. But you're not doing financially not you're if you're doing financially not well, then you will start questioning whether I am in the right track because I am whether I am that worthiness drops for you.
Only, yeah, only if it comes to the financial part. But other aspects, I've been quite, happy about it.
You said you are happy about it with regards to time and all that. Your worthiness goes up when you're financially making what you want to make. Your
Hmm.
worthiness goes down when you're financially not making what you are supposed to make. It's about you questioning your own worthiness in those moments. And this is what we call it as our self worth.
What is the definition of self worth?
Self worth means how comfortable you are in your own presence. I will tell you a simple example. For suppose you are going in a social function. You have entered the social function and you see people all around you. And somehow you realize that they are all better dressed up. you start questioning, should I have been here or not? So what's happening is the attire that you have seen others wearing, that is actually making you discomforting about your own self. You're feeling discomfort about your own self in that moment. And you're questioning whether in the first place should I have been here or not. So which means when you are doubting or when you are discomfort with your own self and your own presence, that is what is called the aspect of self-worth. The more comfortable you are in your own presence and external factors don't define your comfort with yourself, that's when you are operating with a high self-worth. None of the external things influence how you feel about yourself or in your own company. So that's what is self-worth.
But the way I look at is that everyone actually measures their self-worth with external situations. What do you think?
That's quite, I think, quite prevalent in the way we are. Uh, I think we are brought up and everything. We are always validated against an external circle. It could be someone else who is doing well. It could be about someone else who is dressing up well, who is more hygienic, more disciplined, correct? So we are always validated against something which is external to us. It's how you are feeling about it, and from there on it starts. It's generally about, oh yeah, I think he or she and that he's doing well, or can you do you see how well he or she is doing, and based on that we are validated. So as you very rightly said, is it's very prevalent within how majority of us live our life, because that's how we have been evolved, or we have grown up over a period of time, right from our childhood. So it's very natural. So
Okay.
that's why majority of us are so dependent on external factors. If tomorrow, if they don't have a job that they think about,
Yeah.
if they don't have a house with the amenities that they think about, if they don't have a vehicle with the features that they think about, it will
Hmm.
all lead to they will feel that they are somewhere substandard. And that is the reason, because we are associating our worth to something which is external. And when that doesn't happen, we feel that we are not worthy or we are substandard.
So, how can we not get affected by this? Do you have any tips or something which we can do to be, in short, how can we be comfortable in our own skin?
I think you asked a very brilliant question, and you put it like, how can we be comfortable in our own skin?
Yeah.
See, the first and most important thing, Sai, is like, for suppose if I feel that I want a house, let's say with some amenities, and I
Mm-hmm.
did not get, I could not make it. So obviously I'm feeling down. I'm feeling substandard. See, the
Mm-hmm.
first thing about self-worth is acknowledging and accepting where you are. So, which means to accept the fact that I consider myself as substandard since I have not got that house with that amenities.
Hmm.
So, that's the first and foremost thing, to accept and acknowledge that. Acknowledge what you are experiencing.
Hmm.
It's not to go and buy or think about various avenues to go and buy something which you feel is with amenities. Right? First, to accept that and acknowledge that you are feeling substandard about it.
Hmm.
Because once you acknowledge it, you start understanding, Sai, like you start understanding where it is coming from. And what I mean by where it is coming from is you will start understanding that you have always associated everything that you experience as your worth as something which you have got from outside. And you have
Hmm.
always seek for more and more so that you feel more, what we say, more worthy. So its most important thing is to first accept and acknowledge where you are instead of running away from it. and trying to find avenues so that you go and get that house with amenities. And that will give you an idea, give a reflection to you when you reflect, is that you will see that you have been someone who has already always you have seeked for something outside to gain your own worth. Because once you know what you are truly worthy of at this point of time, and from there, if you start, which means like at this point of time, I cannot buy that house with that. Once you accept, then essentially what will happen is uh, you will you will be operating from the state that you are in. So that's the first and the foremost thing, Sai, that we need to do is first acknowledge and accept it so that you operate from that state and you realize what's your current work and operate from that level instead of trying to create avenues in order to prove yourself. Right? That acceptance is the key. That acceptance is very important for you to start your journey of self. I'm not saying that you will start becoming fully self-worth, but it's for you to start the journey of self-worth, is to come to a stage wherein you truly are.
So the acceptance is the key. And then from there you start. Where do you want to go and how do you want to be, right?
You were saying whenever it goes down, when financial thing goes down, you start asking questions. So if you can give like what exactly happens, like when the financially you're not securing as much as you want. So what happens to you?
Nothing really happens. See, this is what is Ranjit. Nothing really happens, but I start questioning, okay, the security comes into question, right? Will I have enough to be able to live a secure life? That's the basic question which comes to.
So which means your security is dependent on the money that you're earning.
Agree? Yeah.
It's not the other way around. It's not that you are secured and hence you think you can earn as much as you want. It's the
Hmm.
other way around, correct? Wherein your security is driven through your money. So the first thing that you need to, when we say acceptance or acknowledge, is this whole aspect that your security is coming from the money that you earn. So once you accept that, the question that will come in is, what is security for you?
What is security for me? Having enough financial access so that, I don't think twice to do what I, wish to do. That is real security for me.
So what you're saying is the spending power that you have.
Yeah, spending power which I have. And
Correct.
yes,
The spending power that you have defines your self-worth.
the security and then relates to security. Yes, what you said is right. Yeah.
Your spending power in a way defines your self-worth.
Yes.
And when you think that you don't have the spending power, you don't go and engage in those things, correct? Because you think that at that point you're not, the self-worth is not that much for you to go
Correct.
and engage in, correct?
Yes. And one small thing, the interesting part is I've never experienced it. But
What do you
I
mean by
think
that?
I've never experienced so far that, okay, I would not be able to buy this, right? I've not yet experienced it. But I think that, okay, if money is not coming in, I may have to experience that. This is the thing. See, all the things which I buy, let's say bike or anything, I have only brought them when I see that there is a need for it. Luckily, I have never felt for comparison. He has a car, let me buy a car. He has a bungalow, let me buy a bungalow. Right? I have never fell into that trap. Because somewhere from as early as possible, I have never wanted to compete with others on these things. But when it comes to the security aspect, because my parents are dependent on me, right? I love to take care of them. I really love the relationship which is happening, but somewhere I think that if I am not earning enough, I may have to put them in a situation where they won't get access to what they want or what they need. That is the main thing for me.
So what I'm hearing, Sai, when you said that is, one, you mentioned spending capacity to buy what you want to buy,
Yes.
and your spending capacity to enable what you want to enable it for your parents. It defines yourself. What I also heard you saying is that though you have not experienced this any time,
Hmm.
but this is there back of your mind, or this is there within you. Right? This is there within you, which clearly means that it is something which is created. It is not something which is real. Are you with me on this? That
Yes,
it is
I'm with you
something
on
which
this.
is
Yes.
it is something which is created,
Uh,
which you think might happen or may happen. So what you are doing at this point of time is you are doing something, you are defining your self-worth on
mhm.
something which has not happened yet. You're defining your self-worth in something which you're not happened. And what you are doing, you are living a life avoiding and doing things based on something which has not happened. So which means the whole thing that you have created right now, it's appropriate to say that it's an illusion. It's not real. But because of that, you are defining the way you are living. You are living it in that way, which is not something which is not real. So what's going to happen is you will never have a self-worth then. Will you have a self-worth because you are doing something which is not real,
Hmm.
which is an illusion, which means that at any point of time, you cannot have a self-worth, correct? Because you are creating or you're basing your self-worth based on something which doesn't exist. So my question to you is, right now when
Mhm.
you're hearing this, what is that you're experiencing yourself?
One thing is, I'm aware about this. I'm aware that something which doesn't exist is bothering me, right? Now, how is it bothering me? Because the current financial outcome may affect tomorrow, is what comes into my mind, because that's how our logical mind looks at it. Okay, do I have money to spend for the next 1 year or 2 years? That's how the mind asks, right? Because in you, when you're in business, so you do have to have certain savings. Okay, if things don't go in the right way, do you have blanket where you're comfortable, not stressing over? So when I look at it, I know that this is all an illusion, or not exactly an illusion, but I'm living the future currently. Okay, but this is how I have been taught, or this is what I know, right? I don't know any other way of thinking which helps me to not worry about it. So yeah, right. So let's say, see, even the basic of things, when I told you that when I go to a party and I see that if I am not the best dressed person, I don't know whether the others are actually thinking, okay, hey, he did not dress well and all. I don't know about if they think or not, but I am definitely thinking that way, right? When I see someone who is better dressed, when I see someone who looks better, right? I'm not sure about them, but somewhere that thought comes in me, right? Now it doesn't come, but there was a point in time, point back, it used to really bother me more than me experiencing the party. I always, this is what used to go in my mind. And especially in family situations, when I meet my cousins and all, the main topic is this: okay, who is earning how much? So you're standing in front of family and they are deciding your self-worth. Acha, he's earning so much, okay, he's like this or he is like this. I think this is a common case in every household, is what I think, but I'm not sure.
Let's come back to you because
Yeah.
obviously we can discuss on you. So what essentially you're doing is based on a future which you don't know, you are creating the present. You're defining what 𝐶𝑖 is. Instead of based on what 𝐶𝑖 is, you are creating the future or you're defining the future.
I'm doing the first part. I'm not doing the second part. Yeah.
Correct, correct. So that is what is self-worth.
Uh-huh.
You're getting it? Based on something which exists or not exist, you are defining your everything.
In the present situation.
The day you define what you can create in the future based on what you are in the present is operating from self-worth.
So it should be the other. It can actually be other way around. If you see, because I'm very much confident about the work I'm doing, right? But instead of choosing one imagined outcome, I'm choosing another imagined outcome. I can also choose an imagined outcome where I'm confident about what I'm doing and confident in my business. So I know that the future would be bright.
And
Yes.
self-worth can vary in different ways. Like you mentioned first when you started this conversation, is that the way you are engaging with time, you are engaging with what you want to experience now. And with that, you are creating your moments. With that, you're not getting bothered with regards to whether you are using your time properly or not, because in future something will happen. Whatever you're experiencing in your present, you're based on that creating your moments.
Hmm.
So your self-worth is high when it comes to the way you are engaging with time. So similarly, with other things also, your self-worth might be high. But when it comes to the money aspect of it, the
Hmm.
financial aspect of it, it's driven not through what you're experiencing now. It's driven through what you might experience in future. That's the reason it creates a doubt, it creates that. But in case of time, you're enjoying it because you are exactly experiencing it from where you are,
Yes.
and you feel comfortable in your presence with that.
Yes.
When it comes to finance, which is something which is way there outside, somewhere in the future, you feel discomforting in your own presence. And obviously, your self worth comes into question.
This is interesting, Ranjit, because what we think is a minuscule, it actually affects us a lot. I mean, we never pay attention to these things, which should definitely be discussed, because only when we discuss things like this, we understand where we are going wrong and how we can correct ourselves.
Like when we are comfortable in our own presence and we don't define ourselves based on anything that is external to us,
Hmm.
but instead we define based on how comfortable we are in our own presence, then
Hmm.
is what is self-worth. The more comfortable we are, more we will create from that self-worth.
From that.
And obviously you will be happy, you will be fulfilled, and various other things because you are creating from where you are.
Thank you, Ranjit. I think this explains, what I've been doing. Yeah.
I'm glad we could discuss this to such a point wherein we understand what generally happens while we are uh, experiencing self.